You got an intro for this madness?
I think so.
Okay, I'm ready.
I think I can do it.
I believe in you. Like, I'm not like calling into question whether you can or can't.
Okay. Alright. I'll do it, and if you don't like it, just refuse to speak.
I'll just hang up the call.
Gumby. It's a gas. Welcome to Pink Floyd, the podcast where we watch every movie ever made to see if it syncs up with Pink Floyd's 1973 magnum opus, The Dark Side of the Moon. My name is Gareth Blackler, and emerging from a little red square of clay, it's your co-host, James Barron.
What's up, childish Gumbino? James Barron here. How's it going, Gareth?
Oh, you were sitting on that this whole
Yeah,
time.
man. Oh, I do like being the pokey to your Gumby, though. That is very wonderful, an image. I'm your horse companion out here. I just thought of that and couldn't not use it.
No, oh my gosh. Like, people can stop now. That's as good as I think any podcast this week is going to do.
First 30 seconds? No. There's still much more entertainment to come, Gareth. Because we watched the Gumby movie this time, baby.
Oh my gosh. From the 90s, made by people in their 70s.
Yeah.
So good, so confusing. I went in watching this as cold as you'd be in Gumby's enemy's freezer's truck's freezer.
Yeah?
Gumby's enemy, Freezer from Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been surprised. And very confused. I did watch it with audio because
I'm glad.
no subtitles for this exist.
No.
Oh my gosh. And then yes, later with the Floyd. Tell me, I know nothing about Gumby. I've learned a little bit. I've been to gumbysworld.com
Sure.
now.
Good.
I've,
Required reading.
I've got a small piece of paper where I wrote down everyone's names that I could learn them. But tell me about your life and your Gumby and
Mate.
how this green man has shaped you like he shapes himself.
Sure. So, growing up, my best friend, one of my very good friends from when I was 5 years old, we're still friends today. Their parents were obsessed with Gumby. They had Gumby merchandise all over their house, and I had no idea what Gumby was until like they had like Gumby like Blockhead bookends in their house, and like they had a small figurine of Gumby in their car. Is awesome. But yeah, I had no idea.
Gumby, take the wheel.
Yeah. I had no idea who Gumby was or what his deal was until I met this person, and then we watched the Gumby movie together at a very young age, probably like 5 or 6 years old is the first time I watched the Gumby movie, and it's a trip. For a small child. Like, Gumby ostensibly is a kids show. It is for children. It's just that it is completely wild. It has the sensibilities of like it was made originally in the 60s. Has the sensibilities of like 60s, 70s, like very much rock and roll is coming in. It's heavily tied with music, and I don't know, the whole show just sort of has a like acid trip kind of quality to it. And yeah, I was terrified at several instances watching this movie, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, especially later in life revisiting it, and it's just been a fixture for me. Gumby, I wasn't like driven to the point of obsession, but I do love everything about Gumby, and whenever I see him I smile. So that's my long distant history with Gumby, but how does he sync with Pink Floyd, eh, Gareth?
Well, this is one of, or maybe this is the first one we've covered where we're not the first people to try to sync the movie with Dark Side of the Moon.
Yo, really? I didn't know that. That's awesome.
There's a Reddit post on reddit.com Pink Floyd.
Okay.
And where a year ago, so
Whoa.
while this podcast was alive,
Oh, shit. Yeah.
someone called Proxer argues that the Gumby, the movie, syncs with Dark Side of the Moon. Oh my goodness. Oh, this person must have been listening to us because they've just chosen random movies and tried it. Yeah, they've got some moments and they end it with, so yeah, give it a shot if you want and I'll have you know. Reddit user Proxer, we did give it a shot.
We did give it a shot, mate. This one's for you, man. Like,
Yeah.
hell yeah. I love that someone else has done this. That's great. Oh my gosh.
One comment,
Okay.
and the person didn't give it a shot if they wanted. They just said that it syncs up with every film ever made at some point. This person's got to listen.
Yeah, oh my god.
Godzilla Zeron. That's our catchphrase.
Hey man, shout outs to the subreddit. If you listen and you subscribe to the Pink Floyd subreddit, shout outs to you. This show is kind of perfect for you. I hope you're enjoying it. Yeah, that's wonderful news. But yeah,
Oh man, this user has gone on to post stuff about The Simpsons as well. Maybe it's
hell
just
yeah. Maybe it's you.
us. Yeah, maybe when I sleep, I wake up as a Redditor.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Someone should make that into a horror movie.
Yeah.
So spooky. Nah, shout outs to Reddit. Shout outs to you guys. That's great.
Shout outs to Reddit.
Yeah.
No one says that these days.
I'm shouting out all of Reddit.
Goodness. Wow, all of
Yeah,
it.
at the top of the show. What could go wrong?
No.
Yeah, no. Maybe we should start a subreddit in response to this.
Oh yeah.
r/Sync Floyd. We'll let the fans do it. Anyway, that's neither here nor there, Gareth. We've got to get back to the Gumby and his wacky adventures and
Definitely wacky.
because yeah, I'm happy to put in the work. We've done the science. If you don't want to give it a shot, as per the Reddit post, just listen to this episode because we have, and we'll cover it off succinctly. And we've done it in a potentially sacrilegious and terrible way, because this week I chose the exact version of the film that we wanted to watch. Because the issue with the Gumby movie is that it was only ever released on VHS, and it was released several times on VHS because there were certain parts of the film that were cut for being too extreme and strange for children to comprehend.
Wow.
So there are different versions of this movie where different scenes are cut out there all over the place, and like this, I had to choose one basically at random, and I chose it mainly because this one starts with commercials that came with the VHS, like built in, advertising other things for kids' vision. So we got to cover, and I decided that we should sync from there, because why not?
Of course, that's how Pink Floyd would have written the album, was taking in the VHS, like the ads beforehand.
That's what they would have
You'd
had.
be crazy not to think that.
Yeah. So yes, shall we get down to it, Gareth? Are you ready? Are you mentally prepared?
I will never be mentally prepared for this.
Good, excellent. That is the correct response on my Voight Comp test. So let's go in. We get into Speak to Me as these adverts for Kids Vision start up. A program that I don't think is running anymore. I would be very surprised if it was.
Surely not.
But they were putting out all manner of programming
Gosh.
other than Gumby. They're like a distributor, I guess, but they advertise all these different programs at the top of the show, and we're going to cover them off here. Starting off with Real Wheels, which is a show seemingly about big trucks and people crashing those big trucks and cars It's about anything on wheels. We've got construction foreman Dave and Becky getting into all kinds of silly troubles. Apparently.
Yeah, I would not trust Dave with my life. He destroys an entire building and then just goes, oh, whoopsie.
Oh, whoops. Classic bloody foreman Dave. Weird thing to note in this as well, the announcer says even Santa gets in on the fun. Santa is here driving around in a DeLorean from what looks like a sedan of some kind.
Yeah.
Just rocking some real wheels, this guy. What is going on with is Santa classed as a vehicle? Like...
Legally, he has to be. That's how he travels that fast.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's just that they had to try and shoehorn him into the real wheels somehow. That's so good. They're like, well, we have a Santa costume. We don't have a sleigh. We do have Dave's car.
Yeah.
Incredible.
He also roller skates Santa, and then he immediately just cuts to get all your real wheels toys, and it is VHSs.
Yes.
Sorry. It is fire truck songs, bulldozer songs, train songs, and of course Santa Claus songs.
the fourth vehicle available. The Real Wheels is its own series, which is all about those cars and stuff. And then there's Rockin' Real Wheels, which is all just songs about those things. They're two separate shows.
Whoa!
And I was floored to find that out. Just in case you want to have a wee sing-song about a truck, you got Rockin' Real Wheels coming along. It's fantastic.
Oh my goodness, I had no idea about that. That is shocking.
I want to track down some of these VHSs, eh?
Yeah, this definitely feels like we've steered into an alternate universe.
Oh, yeah.
Like in fact, this whole film has, but especially these ads, simply because it's like they expect us to understand.
Yeah.
And we can't. We lack the universe. We lack the molecules to understand.
Even
it.
as like little kids, this is so much visual information being thrown at you. It's so quickly. It's so difficult to follow that like I wouldn't even know that Real Wheels was a thing. I would just see all this stuff and be like, oh my God, trucks. Jesus. Like I wouldn't be able to retain a single piece of information here, but that is what we try and do on the show. So we've done our best.
Yeah.
So following on from this, we've got, we're listening to Breathe, by the way, over these strange commercials. We've got Real Animals, where you spend a day with the following animals. Again, these come in sets of 4. So there are lions, horses, monkeys, and whales.
Yeah.
These are the 4 animals on offer with Real Animals. All other animals, they're fake. Don't believe in them.
Yeah, of course.
There are only 4 kinds of animal. As the series will teach you.
Finally, someone's out there saying it, and it's Kid Vision.
Oh, the next one is the one like that kind of shocked me to my core. We've got Dream Big, which is a show where Wishing Well Willie, an orange-clad top hat wearing careers advising wizard,
Of course.
gives kids the ability to test out their dream careers, basically, by granting a wish. So they're like, I wish I could be this. And then you get to see them live a day in the life of that. Wishing Well Willie cares a lot about clearly defined gender roles as well.
Oh, yeah.
Because the 2 things on offer, there's 2 per gender here, according to Willie. And there's cowboy and football player for boys, and cheerleader and ballerina for girls.
Oh, Wishing Well Willie, you've really... Even for 90s, you're behind.
Yeah, 1995, Wishing Well Willie, maybe stop pushing your agenda, all right? There are definitely male ballerinas and female cowboys, all right? Listen. Just reel it in, mate.
I guess it's hard. He must live in a well.
Yeah,
surely.
true. Doesn't get out much. Only to grant the wishes of the well-wishers. You know?
His orange outfit was silver when he bought it. It's just rusted.
Oh, no. He's got a like Patton Oswalt kind of vibe, this guy as well. He seems like friendly and earnest, but just sort of set in his ways. I think I have the most questions about that show, but
I feel like if you sat down with Wishing Well Willie, you could educate him. I don't think his 4 VHSs on cowboy, football player, ballerina, and cheerleader are coming from a place of malice.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't have that many magical powers, and he's unfortunately just got too much bravado and backed himself up a little too much.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. We got to teach him, grant his wish, you know? Oh my gosh. Okay. Now, here we go. We got the next one. The last one.
The next ad.
The last ad in this series is kind of a bombshell. This one is nuts.
Yeah.
So this what is it called? It's like Phase ABCs. There's only 2 of these. But it's dogs dressed as people, and this is introduced by the announcer as, here at Kids Vision, we've got the silliest, gee-williest dogs you've ever saw. Which is excellent. And the dogs...
And it cuts to these dogs with the most serious faces I've ever seen.
Okay, so we get introduced to the dogs on offer, and they are 4 pictures of identical dogs. These dogs are clearly siblings of the same litter, but man, it's just 4 shots of the same dog. I don't it's unreal. But they have the best names of all time. We have our title character Fay Ray. We have these. I can't believe these are real dog names. Who chose these out of like existing all the dog names on offer? It's so good.
Right.
So yes, sorry, Fay Ray, Betty, Chundo, and Crookie are the 4.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Batty's kind of warning you. Batty. All the dogs pretty neutral. Batty is kind of sticking out their like lower teeth.
Alert.
Like, oh, look out, folks! Chundo's coming up.
Chundo. Oh, shout outs to Chundo, wherever you may be. Almost certainly dead by this point, but I hope you lived a full life, Chundo, spelling out the ABCs. It's just, we get shots of like these dogs being arranged into the shapes of letters, dogs dressed as clowns. Like, what on earth, Kids Vision? You saved the weirdest for last.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
Wonderful. But yeah, I wanted to talk about them.
Yeah, I'm glad they're in our lives. I'm glad we've synced them to Pink Floyd. This whole experience is like how Bernie Mac used to come out on stage and begin his set with like, I ain't scared of you, like yelling at his audience to say he's not scared of them. Just so no matter what, they're ready for whatever's going to happen.
Man.
It's the same thing. Gumby has sent out these 4 kid visions of the apocalypse to like tell us that he's not scared.
No, he's preparing you mentally, for building your fortitude for what's to come. Oh my god, yes. It's just wonderful. These alone are like worth the watch. Seek this out. It's available. The whole Gumby movie is available for free on YouTube. So seek this out. Just watch these commercials because they are wonderful.
Yeah, we'll have a link to the exact version we've put in our like show notes.
Awesome.
Alrighty.
Oh boy. So here we go. Halfway through Breathe, when we finally start the movie proper. Unreal. No Speak to Me opening titles. You know the drill on this episode. We've got...
No, the drill is unknown.
No, we are fully unknown without a drill here. And we've got the legal warning about copyright infringement that this YouTube video clearly violates. We've got Kid Vision flying into frame. Again, one more final hurrah from them distributing this wonderful VHS. And then we've got the opening titles proper. We've got that they are presented in space with the Gumby text is formed from green plasticine flying into frame. Extremely dramatic. There is radio chatter as if this is a like NASA space program. out here. Just coming in. The title card for this movie is just the word Gumby and the number 1. Like,
yeah, that is a scucks move to say. Yeah, I thought it as though like, don't worry, there's definitely going to be sequels.
Yeah, the baller energy of using just one. What movie? Yeah. Who says like The Matrix 1? Like,
yeah, I guess there was Pokemon the first movie, but by that point, I don't know. Yeah, I guess that's an equal thing that there was a full world already established.
Yeah, that's like
the movie, but at least that's saying the first movie we've made. It's not saying Gumby 1.
No, Gumby 1. Oh man, it is officially called the Gumby Movie. It's just that it's not. It's not presented as such in the film. But
like how Fast and Furious 9 is called Fast and Furious 9 on screen, but everyone's calling it F9.
F9, yeah,
just like
that. I'm already scared from these opening titles and how they're presented. By the way, as a small child, this is enough to set me off. Yeah, Pink Floyd say race towards an early grave as we leave breathe, go into On the Run as these ominous chords coming in, and we see the final title, which is the director Art Clocky, who are the people that made Gumby originally and are still making Gumby as at 1995. Like this series started back in the 50s and is still going. Unreal. Yeah. So
much respect for that.
For real though, it's an impressive dedication.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. So we've got an alien watching Gumby on a big space widescreen TV, and watching in widescreen as well, which is like this movie is not presented in. It's in 4:3, which is pretty nuts. But yeah, he's on the goddamn moon. The dark side of it, potentially. It's quite dark out here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm loving it. But he's beaming in Gumby from Earth with a big satellite dish. And floating above this satellite dish is the goddamn monolith from 2001: A Space Odyssey. Just up here. It splits into two, a green and a red monolith, which fly towards Earth. Now, this is a very surreal, strange opening. How are you feeling in this moment?
Lost, confused. I'm assuming this was all deep Gumby lore that I didn't know, but like, honestly, excited. Like we've always talked about, the film's got to start in space, so we know that it's set on a planet.
Yes.
So that was useful.
It fully does the thing that we talk about on the show all the time. It's like, establish the universe. Then establish.
And then granted, it all takes place in something very different to the universe as we know it.
True.
So it's sort of, again, it's saying like, forget what you know. Gumby ain't scared of you.
Yes. It's presenting Gumby as he truly is, without any context. But yeah, it's so these two monoliths, they fly down to a cityscape on Earth. We see the Earth come into frame. We see a cityscape appear. There are Gumby buildings around here. People fucking love Gumby on Earth. But then we fly even further down, even smaller. We fly into a toy store on Earth, and then these monoliths are way smaller than we thought, and they fly in, and one of them lands on a set of clay here in the toy store, a plasticine tray, and turns into Pokey, friend, key assist. He's the Samwise Gamgee of the Gumby universe.
Exactly.
He's a small red horse made out of clay, who is Gumby's best friend, but is often hard done by. And Gumby just doesn't transform and continues flying away. And Pokey laments this. He's like, I thought Gumby was going to land here. Damn it. Very confusing. Like, the whole thing with Gumby is that he is made of plasticine, and the show not only doesn't shy away from that, it uses it constantly as it's the medium is very much what Gumby is all about, and what his malleability and is part of his power. But he also has more powers and tricks up his sleeve to come. But yes, so
yeah. Honestly, I'm chill with that. It all makes sense. He's clay in universe and in reality.
Yes.
And like everyone else's. It's just when we start meeting like humans made of clay that I get a little more confused.
Oh yeah, there are so many layers to Gumby in terms of confusion. The fact that we are like so small at the moment as well. We're inside a toy store, and like we're about to go even a layer deeper, which is so wild. But yeah. A couple of guys show up, some extraneous characters. These are members of the Clay Boys, Gumby's band, as we will find out later. Each of these guys, we've got Fat Buckle, who is a guy who looks a bit like Krusty the Clown with his hair. And we've got Thin Buckle, the bassist. And later on, we have not met them yet, but there's also No Buckle. the like rhythm guitarist of the band.
I think he's the bassist.
Is he?
But yeah.
Okay.
It took me embarrassingly long to figure out that was their naming convention, was the size of their buckles.
It's so weird. It's so bizarre. That these guys are all based on their buckles. But that's just how they do in Gumby land. Like,
so there was never a time where they didn't have buckles?
I don't know.
In the Gumby lore?
They were formed with buckles, potentially. It's very confusing. I don't know the deep Gumby lore of the formation of the Clay Boys. I wish I did. But I'm sure there is a story there in the thousands of episodes of Gumby that exists. But yes, we are yet to see No Buckle, the bassist, but he will be coming. Also, in this car is Low Belly, the dog, a dachshund dog. To add levels of confusion, Gumby has a real dog who is like not stylized really in any way. He's just a plasticine dog. And like, unlike Pokey, who is indeed a horse, but is red and has his own sort of thing going on.
Yeah, talks and does stuff.
Yeah, it's like the Pluto Goofy conundrum.
Exactly.
Playing out here in Gumby. Like, he has his own problem in the same way. So I think he rivals Mickey Mouse in terms. He's just an alternate variant, you know.
I reckon.
Imagine the world where Disney and Mickey Mouse never happened, or like weren't nearly as popular as Gumby.
Yeah, it was the Gumby Corporation that bought Marvel, and like people go to Gumby World. Yeah.
We're getting all new, constantly getting new movies, but it's all claymation, just all the time. Everyone's super into clay.
Okay, I'm into it.
I'm pretty sure that's what it's like in this Gumby world. Like, that's the world of Gumby. Oh, man.
We're in a very, clay-based economy instead. Computers never took off the same way clay did.
Yes. Oh, my gosh.
Okay, I'm on board.
All right. Well,
instead of a podcast, I guess we just carve into some clay and send it to people.
Pod carvers.
Yes.
Oh my god. Okay.
It's our official name for ourselves, the Pink Floyd Podcavers.
There we go. Finally, we've got there. Okay. So, meanwhile, Gumby, instead of landing with Pokey, has gone to visit his dad, who is a fireman. It looks just like Gumby, except he's red and has like a bowl cut. And his name is Gumbo. Fun fact. His mum is called Gumba.
Yes,
and he also has a little sister who doesn't have a line in this movie as far as I'm aware. But
No, she just eats some cookies at the very end.
But she plays a bigger role in the series as well.
Okay.
But anyway, I don't think his mum has a big role in this movie either. It's just we need to establish Gumbo as a character for later. We got the crash sound as he comes down and talks to his dad for a bit, which doesn't really sync with anything. And meanwhile, Pokey is poking around looking for Gumby and getting into trouble as Pokey does. He gets in the way of the firemen who are rushing out down the pole to go and sort of fire out. And he nearly gets hit by a fire truck right as all the clocks go off in time, which is pretty good. And he misses Gumby by a hair here, who's still not around. Like, he just missed him. And so he's following around looking for Gumby still around the toy store. And we see two other friends of Gumby here, Prickle and Goo. Prickle is a yellow dinosaur with spikes on his back.
Easy. Understood that, definitely. Got it.
Yep.
It's then when we get to Goo, things fall apart again for me.
So officially Goo is a mermaid, but she is sort of just like a blue slug shape. And she does a lot of strange things over the course of this movie. But then a lot of Gumby, a lot of people in the Gumby world can do this kind of crazy stuff. So, like, you can't knock Goo. Goo has the weirdest name for sure. But anyway, she is here as well at the top of the slide with Prickle hanging out, and they slide down this enormous slide, only to smash into Pokey at the bottom, who is looking for Gumby, and they horrifically merge together to form a Cronenberg nightmare, merging their three bodies together in a plasticine ball with their heads sticking out. To which these guys are like, this must happen regularly or like fairly. It's a sort of workplace accident. Where if you made a plasticine, this could potentially happen to you. And Pokey's only response to this is that he says, "I won't believe it. It can't be true." And that's just his whole feeling on the situation. Just complete denial. But they can't separate, and so they have to go to the freaking hospital. They are wheeled in an ambulance, like on a gurney, to this operating room. So this is one of the scenes. This whole hospital scene was cut, by the way, in a lot of the versions for being too horrific. Because things are about to get wild. There is a CAT scanorama machine we find out here, which is like, it looks like a funfair hell ride that's just installed into the side of this hospital, with like a large Felix the Cat style face. Terrifying. When it turns on, it's got flashing red eyes. Like, guys, what are you thinking? Anyway, we get like an extended sequence from the doctor investigating. He says that this is the multiple compound fusion that these guys are suffering from, and sends them into the machine, the CAT scanorama, to look at them. And he opens them up, like they split in half because they're made of plasticine, right? And inside there are these like dark splotches where this is apparently showing complete fusion, where their bodies have merged together in an irreversible way, which is horrific. Like, the level of like mental fortitude you need as a child when watching this to like understand like what is happening to these beloved characters. Like, what the hell?
For something that's never going to come back in this film as well.
Completely.
So much thought, so much horror.
Yeah, completely pointless, all of this. So they put them in another machine, the deconfusion chamber, which I like the name of, which is like just a weird like metal egg. which seals. All of this fits way too well to time, by the way, which is playing over the top.
Yeah.
Just like a dark hospital scene in the middle of your kid's movie that fits very well. You're like, how the hell did we get here? But yeah, we see them on the screen inside this machine, and we get like a little cutaway to them talking, and Goo just says, "I'm scared," and I'm like, "Girl, same." Like, this is fucked up. They activate this machine trying to separate them, and their faces like contort in horror. It's awful. It's like fucking Akira or something is happening. Yeah. It's so wild. They like start like violently warping and separating. And they finally split into two pairs of each character. So there's two of each. And the doctor says, "We've split the chromosomes," which is like implies, I don't know, like how does like what does that mean? Like he's divided their DNA in half, and like there's a girl and boy version of each, or I don't know what that means.
I've not a clue. I feel like they just liked this phrase chromosomes.
I hope so. It's direly upsetting.
Yeah.
Anyway, thankfully, the doctor quickly reverses this, and they are finally fixed into their own bodies again once more. They get out of the machine and they're like, well, that was a horrible experience. Like, Prickle says that he finally feels like a dinosaur again, but for a while there I was worried. Which is like, what a nightmare.
Also, it's worth noting, while they're tangled up, their molecules and chromosomes combined.
Yeah.
They're very worried about the cost of this operation.
Yes.
Like, Prickle's really concerned about the bill, which is just a shattering indictment on the American healthcare system.
Got him. Just a roast, this whole thing of American healthcare. Thankfully, once they come out, the doctor says that there is no bill, that this procedure was free. Consider it because the machine they were using was completely untested. Is the justification. So consider it an experiment. He also offers them a free lunch as compensation, which I find hysterical. So good. Which they refuse. They're like, no, I want to leave this hospital, please. Oh, unreal. Unabated, Pokey is still on the hunt for Gumby. They are looking around the toy store in the book department, because Gumby has the ability, in fact, everyone in this realm, so long as they're made of plasticine, has the ability to go into books as if they were their own world. This is a regular feature of Gumby as a series that I've never explained to you. But yes, this is mostly what the show is about, with Gumby exploring various books and stories and inserting himself sort of Where's Wally style.
See, it all makes sense now. It's all falling together. You just put it into Wishbone territory, and I'm right
exactly.
there.
Exactly. Here's Wishbone. It's exactly the same vibe, except he's like 70s Wishbone with his own band. Like, that's
for a lot more of an explanation. He's sort of, I guess he's closer, if we're going by kids' TV dogs, he's closer to Blue from Blue's Clues. Like, he's Blue skidooing into these books.
Similar vibe to Blue and his skidoos for sure. Yes, which as you know, I have my own problems with, and that's why it's probably like coming from Gumby. Like, is the deep-seated issue in my heart. Honestly, if I explore my feelings, as we want to do on the podcast.
So do you believe that they, how dare they copy the OG Gumby?
I don't know.
Do you think Gumby laid down the rules better than Steve and Blue's Clues did?
Well, like, it doesn't... Like, the issue that I have with Blue's Clues is that the rules aren't clear. Gumby follows its own internal consistency in that, like, Gumby can only go into books, and every time he goes into the book, he comes out of the same book. Like, in Blue's Clues, they have... I'm going to get into it now. Blue often goes into... Blue and Steve, or whoever the host of the show is at that point, can go into a painting and explore inside the painting, and that's all good. But then they'll come out of a different painting in the house, which is of a different scene. And they do this all the time. Like, and for me, I'm like, can this be used for effective matter transportation? Have we solved, like, all, like, shipping around the world if we can utilize the Blue Skidoo technique? Like, you can travel the whole world if you set enough paintings up around, like, airports are now defunct. Like... Why is Steve still receiving mail if he can travel to any location through a painting? Like, these are my questions.
Yeah, unless do the paintings exist in a different reality?
Maybe they...
And thus he's only confined to paintings within his half-cartoon house?
So the issue I have with that, again, I've thought of this, is that, like, the paintings, sometimes he can just jump out of a painting that's hanging from a tree outside. So...
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's not like the magic is confined to within the house. It's yeah, you could use it outside so long as he has enough frames. Like, I don't know. It's strange. But, like, maybe Gumby has the same issues. If Gumby jumps into a book and then someone picks up that book and takes it away, what happens? Like, you know? I bet there's an episode about that. But anyway.
Oh, almost definitely.
Yes, that's briefly my issue with Blue's Clues. Oh,
thank you.
The Blue's Clues conundrum. Yes. So yeah, Gumby can jump in and out of books, and that's what we see him doing. We see him hanging out, and he's investigating new dance and music techniques in these books, doing research for his band to put on a better show. We see him in... like, watching a tribal ceremony in a cave.
Yeah.
Which is bizarre. And we see the gang have meanwhile split up and gone into different books to look for Gumby. And Gumby goes into a dancing dervish book. We see people dancing with swords. Wild that this comes back later, but we'll get there. We also, we see Pokey looking around in a book and get chased by a rhino, just through the savannah for some reason. Wonderful.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, they couldn't find him. They split up, and then eventually Gumby bursts out of the dervish dance book and knocks Pokey to the floor as we go into a great gig. And then the band show up, and they are like, all right, let's go practice. And poor Pokey's all upset, but reluctantly, like, hops in with everybody. And then they go off to practice.
Yeah.
They go to the book Down on the Farm, which is, I believe, a regular feature in the show as well. I think this...
Oh, okay, that's reassuring.
I think they just live here in this book a lot of the time.
Okay.
They've got their own farm where they hang out. And yeah, like, but within Down on the Farm is like a whole world unto itself. There's a town with a cafe and a whole populace of people, and a farm, like many farms of many people, all captured within this book world. It's very interesting. No wonder, like, Gumby has such a wild and interesting life, because he can each book is so full of life and wonder. Like,
yeah, it's also not that surprising that this book is always in the toy store and has never sold if it's just a detailed description of every single farm, bank, and like person in the town.
It's a truly terrible book, but at least it's like so detailed that Gumby can make a life for himself in there.
Aww. So I guess that's our mission to everyone. Like, if you're going to make something terrible, fill it with enough detail for Gumby to live in.
There you go. Much like this podcast.
Exactly. That's the real reason we do it, is just to give Gumby little worlds
so that he
to
can
jump
explore
around in.
different movies. It's just that he has to do it through the lens of Pink Floyd. Oh my god, to get the rock connection in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they all... it's just so wild. Anyway, they are going through this town, and there is the first appearance of the Blockheads here, who are our main antagonist in the Gumby franchise. We've got Blockhead G and J here, who are the main...
Which is our bloody initials.
Yeah, that is. We are Blockheads.
Yeah.
Just a pair of bloody blockheads. There are blockheads for each letter of the alphabet. It's just that G and J are the main antagonists of the Gumby franchise for some reason. I don't really know what the significance of them are, but it's always them. So that you know, for the Gumby lore heads out there.
Thank you.
Yeah, they just like get into a sedan and drive away. They drive ahead because they've got a scheme of their own going. They deliver this mail out to the farmers who are living out here about loans. There's this extremely complicated scheme where these nasty blockheads are trying to get all these farms run out of business because they're just mean boys. And so they deliver these letters out, and we see an old lady go out and check her mail and then just collapse from shock. And the Gumby and the crew jump out and check on her, and it's because her farm's going to get shut down because she can't pay her loans. Again, this is a kid's movie. Like, what on earth? But yeah,
it's so intense,
so strange. So this has happened to many farmers out here. We see like a whole group just like piled around the letterbox from collapsing, which is the appropriate reaction to finding out you have to pay your loan. Like, you know, whenever I look at my student loan balance, I do fall on the floor in tears.
Yeah, that's fair. Actually,
Prickle muses that borrowing money is dangerous as well, which I find hilarious. Just this philosophizing from a plasticine dinosaur.
He's definitely blaming the wrong people. He's
100%.
You know, yeah.
Oh, it's so funny. But yeah, it's like this. It's just so strange to have this happen over Great Gig in the Sky as well. All these very sad farmers like weeping over their loans. Oh, unreal. Anyway, we arrive at Gumby's farm here, or the farmhouse that they have out here, where they have their band practices. And we get at the end of Great Gig is when they rock up, and then we get the money cha-ching coming in as No Buckle makes his first appearance, leaping over the rafters. No Buckle has a weird aesthetic. He's like a yellow like dollop of clay with hair covering his eyes. I think they're all supposed to be like parodies of like 70s rockers or something.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, this whole... I just love that there's a presence of a band in this movie. It feels very Pink Floyd-y, you know?
Oh, yeah. And especially the way... So, yeah, we get Arbuckle leaping around to the cha-ching.
Yeah.
Then, like, we hear him start warming up on his bass, exactly when the bass line comes in. And then old Low Belly comes along and tries to put on the radio and is stopped. But that kind of is, you know, the cha-chings and the samples.
Yeah.
And then they go 3, 2, 1, and the guitars kick in for money.
Perfect.
the Clay Boys are playing Pink Floyd
They are.
tonight.
They're the Clay Boys as well. Yeah, the Pink Floyd boys.
Yeah.
It's so good. But it's messed up because we cut away from this to bloody Prickle and Goo, who are just out tending to the fields while these guys rock out, which I found pretty rude. Just having his friends work the farm while you play music. I don't know. Pokey's also upset by this because he used to be Gumby's best friend. It's only until recently that, like, I don't know if in the series Gumby always has a band, the Clay Boys. I think these guys were introduced for the film. But Pokey is and always will be Gumby's best friend, and he's feeling left out because he's not a member of the band. And we cut back to Gumby's practice, and he's doing some very upsetting moves. He's utilizing his clay form to shape himself into multiple different things. It's very intense stuff. Gumby goes to check on Pokey and says that he can be part of it as part of the big dance act. And that cheers Pokey right up, so that's all good. Now they're mates again. Midway through the practice, Goo finds a marble in the hay down next to Lowbelly, and that's the dog. And they go over, they're having lunch together when she brings it over, and it's actually a pearl. It's worth at least $1,000 according to I think Thinbuckle.
Who's to say?
It made me laugh that he just knows that. Just the concept of $1,000 is so funny in a movie.
Yeah, it's so weird that money is. I mean, it's playing, but it's such an issue in the Gumby world.
The economy here of these farmers is super important. They are book characters. Remember,
that's true.
Oh, it's wild.
It is because the beauty of a kids movie and a kids film is usually that you've got these characters that have the innocence of children, and then the freedoms of adults minus the responsibilities. You're never supposed to hear these characters worry about their taxes or something like that. But in Gumby, that world still exists.
Yeah, that is explicitly the issue in the Gumby movie, is that these farmers are destitute and are forced to vacate their homes unless Gumby intervenes. It's so good. Anyway, Gumby takes the pearl and he's like, I'm going to show this to Professor Cap, who is a new character here as well. Is this bumbling professor type, straight out of bloody Food Fight, walking into this movie. Gumby just drops in. He walks straight. So this is another thing. He walks into the wall of the farmhouse. Yeah. Transports out of the book. This is another wild thing that Gumby can do. He just any seam in this world, he can leave the book through. Wild. And he just walks to a nearby book, which is the professor's book of science, where the professor is hanging out and doing experiments. And Gumby just knocks over a huge shelf of chemicals that are sputtering in the background. But the professor's like, no, it's fine. It's all good. And you just see steam and smoke rising behind him. It's so funny. And he takes the pearl, analyzes it with a machine that tells him the exact chemical composition of it and the price of the pearl. This is a crazy machine. It says that it's not worth $1,000. It's worth $2,400.
Oh yeah,
this pearl, which is exceptionally specific. That this machine knows that much.
Knows how much someone will value it. When you take it into the pearl store.
Does a quick appraisal just because it can.
Yeah,
it's so funny. Also, this machine is never used again.
Of course not.
It's just for this pearl. It's so good. And then they're like, oh, sweet, okay, cool. Well, that will help with the farmers, this pearl that we found. Very lucky find. The next day, we see the band putting on their performance. They're doing a benefit concert for the farmers out here.
Yeah.
And there are huge amounts of people just watching them perform in a gazebo, basically. Including the Blockheads who are out here. Everyone's just chilling and having a picnic, which I enjoy the vibe of quite a lot. Even the bad guys are here, just enjoying some sodas together. I think that's very sweet. Yeah. Also, if everyone is hanging out, people are vibing in the front row, and we've got people different characters describing the ways that the music is making them feel. They're saying like, this music makes me feel funny. Like, it is implied, I believe, that everyone is on drugs at this concert.
Yes.
It's very good.
I mean, it is Pink Floyd's Money still playing, and it's in 7/4 time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what are you supposed to do?
We are deep in the sauce at this point. Like, it is, the whole solo is raging on over this performance. Yeah, so the Blockheads are hanging out and watching the concert. Between the goodies and the baddies is Low Belly, who is just sitting on his low belly and having a bit of a moment to himself. He's just watching this performance and is moved to tears by its sheer beauty and is crying tears that turn into pearls.
Of course.
You know, like dogs do.
Yeah.
And the Blockheads lean over and see this, and they're like, holy shit. The Blockheads never speak, by the way. They are completely silent characters. All of their action is through mime. They're sort of like got a Pingu thing going on where they can't communicate with sound.
See, I thought this would be all of Gumby was completely silent. So when Gumby spoke with his fascinating little voice...
Such a high voice.
Yeah. I was very taken aback.
Yeah, everyone speaks with, like, just as if they are normal kind of sounding people, I would say. Like, most of the characters aren't putting on a voice, especially Pokey, who just sounds like a regular dude. There's some kind of, like, filter over some people's voices to make them a little bit high-pitched like this. But, yeah, Gumby sounds like he is on helium constantly. Way higher voice for his tall frame. But yeah. Anyway, so the Blockheads see this and they scoop up the pearls that Low Belly has created just because they're bad dudes and they steal the pearls.
Yeah, of course.
And yeah, after the performance, the gang go down to a cafe to celebrate and spend some of that hard-earned dosh. But no dogs are allowed in this cafe. There's a sign on the door, and so Low Belly has to hang out in the car and listen to the radio, which is what he likes to do anyway. So that's all good. And yeah, so he's chilling out there. And then a couple of fans from the show arrive. They're like groupies who are like chasing down the Clayboys to like get their autograph, get Gumby's autograph specifically.
Yes, Tara and Ginger. I was very proud to have caught their names.
Amazing. Nice.
Yeah,
surprisingly important characters, these two.
Yeah,
they are here and get roped into this whole situation, but end up like being very helpful. So shout outs to you, Ginger and Tara. Anyway, so they run in to get the autograph. The Blockheads also arrive in their car and they dognap Low Belly. They get a big net and grab him and take him away. And they've got this extremely complicated scheme here. They have an elaborate plan that they've been brewing after the concert and are ready to get underway. So we go into Us and Them as we see what they are doing. They are driving out of the book. They drive out of this book and into a robotics book, which is a sciencey computer lab kind of place. They put Low Belly into a machine. This machine looks as if it's like from The Fly, basically. It's like two large chambers made of glass. They put him in here and they put a metal skeleton into the neighboring machine, and then they make a robotic clone of Low Belly. They make a faux belly, if you will.
Very nice.
Yes, it's like a sort of strange Terminator situation that's happening here.
Exactly.
But yeah, they make an evil robot version of a dog, and then they put the real Low Belly in a little cage. And then they give him a bowl of water because they're not psycho. Like, they at least give him a bit of water to keep that dog alive. And the robot dog runs out and Low Belly spills water on it, shorting it out and killing it instantly.
Yeah.
Brutal. We see this
Problem
like
solved.
I immediately felt bad seeing this like robot dog die. I don't know what that says about me, but anyway, the Blockheads like immediately pick it up, put it back in the machine, and then revive it. They bring it back to life. This machine can do a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, crazy. And then they're like, okay, quick, we gotta hurry back. They replace Low Belly in the car with this robot. Fake Low Belly, and yeah, like that's their scheme. No one notices this whole thing play out. They did it bloody quick. Shout outs to the Blockheads for pulling off this crazy scheme.
Yeah. That efficiency.
Yeah, they just replaced you with a robot clone so damn quick.
Before Prickle's milkshake even arrived,
Exactly.
they'd done it.
Like that's damn impressive. Yes,
Oh yeah.
Prickle constantly complaining, harassing the robot waiter about his milkshake. I thought like they could have used this to like again double down on the like robot getting electrified kind of thing, but they don't.
Yeah.
It's just a gag for Prickle to be served 3 different milkshakes and for them all to spill on him, which is very fun. And then.
Yeah.
Gumby goes off and gives his autograph to the girls who come in and like fawn over him, and then the robot malfunctions and sends Gumby atop its serving tray over to Lucky Claybert, who is a human man with a crazy voice. He's a TV talent agent. And he wants to put the Clayboys on TV and get them famous of any color you like. He is a wonderful presence in this movie.
Yeah, he's like a newspaper character of Groucho Marx.
Yes.
Or drawn by the guy who did the artwork for the Pink Floyd's The Wall, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
But like very elongated. He looks like he's kind of been in a vacuum cleaner for a little bit.
Yes.
Like his nose and stuff is very stretched out. And yeah, he talks in a voice I'm not even going to attempt. It's very like... It sounds like if you were going to play a snitch at the beginning of a hip-hop video.
Yes.
You'd do that voice.
It's very like vaguely like, yeah, New York gangster-ish for no real reason.
Yeah.
It's a very strange voice and I like it a lot. But yes, he plays a surprisingly large role in the movie as well. I was very shocked.
Oh, absolutely. He's also very worried about money.
Yes, he is. But we're in any color you like, so get in your lane, bloody Lucky Claybert.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he's got a proposal for Gumby that we'll get to in a minute. They drop off the prof at his lab. And we cut back to what they all leave, basically. They leave the cafe, and then we cut back to what the Blockheads are up to, who have rigged up a system where they've recorded the concert they were at on their radio, presumably just because they liked the concert. And they play it to Low Belly to get him to cry the pearl tears to get them rich. They've set up like this cage with a little like pipe underneath that will spit the pearls into a little bucket. It's like a custom made situation here in this robotics lab. They've been hard at work, these Blockheads.
They even test it with a fake pearl.
Yeah, they pour some like marbles down to show to the audience like this is how this is gonna go.
Yeah,
it's great.
Because we get it.
Yeah. But yeah, they like start blasting the music at Low Belly, who doesn't really react. It doesn't start crying. And then the computer pipes up and tells them, it says, the subject will only respond to a live performance. So Low Belly won't cry the tears unless it's the real thing. Hilarious that the computer knows this. But man, the computers are just like all-knowing, all-powerful, very impressive things in this world. It's just, I guess that's just book logic. I don't know. But yeah, so the fans are still creepily watching. Tara and Ginger are still here. They've followed Gumby home and are just watching what he's up to because they're that big fans. And Lucky Claybert arrives at the farm to sign the lads, gets them to sign a contract. He listens in on their recording, on their practice, and he says, "This music boggles my brain. Fantastic!" Which is true of Pink Floyd as well. That music boggles my brain regularly.
Fantastic. That's a sticker that's going to go on a reissue of Dark Side of the Moon.
It boggles the brain, fantastic. And it's just the Lucky Claybert reissue. With a full Gumby music video attached.
I mean, they might not even need to make a new one because
this might be it.
Us and one Redditor think this might be it.
Yeah, so Gumby does like lots more transforming as part of his performance because that's his powerful move that he does. And yeah, they go and have a private chat in Gumby's office, which is just a stack of hay bales with like a dartboard and a desk, which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
And everyone climbs up the hay bales and looks and watches from above. Yeah. Lucky Claybert basically wants to make a music video that will get the lads famous, even though they haven't put an album out. He's like, if you make this music video, we'll put it out and everyone's going to be talking about you. And so, yeah, everyone agrees and the hay bales topple down, covering everyone in hay, but it's all good. Everyone signs on. Everyone's happy. Lucky Claybert heads off. He's like, all right, the camera crews will be here. I'll get everything organized. And so he heads off. And then immediately a TV van arrives. You're like, fuck, that was quick. But no, it's actually the Blockheads who have disguised a refrigeration truck as a TV truck. Amazing. You see like the little sign peel down, very Looney Tunes style, revealing it. It's great. And yeah, the onlookers, again, like the fans are just watching this, not twigged yet to that something's amiss. A Blockhead comes in, delivers a letter to Gumby explaining about the TV appearance, that they've got to go on this truck. And so they're like, okay. All the Clay boys, except for Gumby, who's like having to do something here at the farm, presumably. I don't know why he doesn't go with them immediately.
He's got to do his shift now.
Yeah, he's got to tend the fields briefly. But anyway, they pile into the back of this truck, and they sit in there with all their instruments, and then the Blockheads drive off, flicking a switch that turns on the refrigeration of the truck and freezes them solid. The logic of like clay being less malleable when it's cold is very clever here. Like,
yeah,
it actually, like, the consistency of clay is like played up a lot in this movie, and it works really well. Like, they freeze them here, and yeah, like that's how you get plasticine to set, by making it cold. You put it in the fridge or something. So that's amazing. And then the fans are like, all right, let's go along to the recording situation. So they're following along in their car, trying to see where this truck is going, taking them to the TV station. But they drive out and leave the book and go into the robotics book. And so they're like, what's going on here? And they peek in and are watching this whole situation play out. They see that the Clay boys are like frozen solid and are like wheeled into the book. And they're like, oh, well, that's weird. Let's investigate what's happening. As we go into Eclipse at the end of the first playthrough, they make robot duplicates of the Clay boys using the same machine. They've got like horrific like metal skeletons in the shape of their bodies. And then, like, make robot doubles.
So did they just have these already? Like, oh, one day we're going to need to make robot doubles of everyone we've ever seen?
I have no idea. The Blockheads
Yeah.
have, like, unlimited resources. They are nothing if not hard workers as villains. Like, it's a wildly impressive scheme that they have here. It's kind of nuts that it goes wrong. Like, because they've thought
Honestly.
they've thought of literally everything, and it's like they seem to have almost omnipotent knowledge of what's going on.
Honestly, if they tried it with anyone who wasn't as, like, popular as Gumby, because people just want to watch Gumby and hang out near him. If they'd done it to, like, me, it would have been fine.
Exactly, right? Like, they've been pulling this scheme for years with numerous podcasters, and it's gone fine. But no, the Gumby's too popular a man that people will miss him.
Yeah.
Brutal. But anyway, they program the Thin Buckle robot to go and capture Gumby with, like, this. They, like, electrocute his brain or whatever. It's pretty harsh looking.
Yeah.
And we see that over, like, absolute silence as well.
Yeah.
So back on the farm, Lowbelly the dog, the robot version of Lowbelly, is chasing Tilly the chicken, which I found out is actually a recurring character in Gumby. Tilly is mentioned all the time, which is wild. But yeah, he gets covered in manure because he's chasing Tilly around and needs a bath. And as the truck returns to collect Gumby to take him to the recording studio, quote unquote, we go into the second playthrough. And Gumby narrowly avoids seeing what happens next as he is thrown into the back and driven away, frozen much like his other bandmates. We go into the screams of breathe as robot Lowbelly is fried in a bath of water. It's very scary seeing Prickle pulls out the body of Lowbelly and you see the robot parts sticking out of him. It's it's intense stuff.
Because this whole film has made us love a dog that's made of clay.
Yeah.
So why can't we love this dog that's made of metal? And yet we, see it fried and destroyed.
Yeah. Awful.
It's a cruel trick you're playing, Art. Creator of Gumby.
Yeah. Got us. Got by Art.
Yeah. Every week on the show we're got by Art.
So true. But yeah, so Prickle immediately figures out, based on he's obviously dealt with robot doubles before or something, because he's
of course.
he's like, yeah, this is they made a robot copy of Lowbelly. We got to go find the real one. We got to go find Gumby and sort this all out. And so they jump into Gumby's car, but it doesn't work. It doesn't start because you don't have Gumby's magic the Fonz touch or something. I don't really know why. Or maybe it might just be a piece of shit car. They are very poor, after all.
Yeah, it's another bit of capitalism sneaking into the Gumby-verse.
Rearing its ugly head yet again. Goo goes to try and call the TV station but doesn't know the number, which I found very funny. Robo-Buckle goes and wheels Gumby over into the robot lab and overbreathe, and we get him being cloned. There's the robot clone of Gumby is created. I do like that the Gumby clone has to have a extra piece of metal at the top of its head for the head shape of Gumby to be right, which I think that's great. I think potentially these metal skeletons are actually part of the Gumby models. And that's how they ambulate and move around potentially. And they've just put them in the movie as a plot point, which is, I think, is pretty cool.
Yeah, because I've this whole episode I've been staring at an image of Gumby. I can't imagine that just staying up by itself,
right? Yeah.
And then still being malleable.
No. They've got a little robot skeleton inside. It turns out that they're all robots. That's the twist. It's
They'd like Art and his family had actually invented like an amazing robot technology that they've just used exclusively for Gumby over the last 40 years.
they've just been keeping it to themselves. The Gumby tech.
Gumby tech.
But yeah, they clone him, and his guitar case is left outside the book as like a clue for later, thankfully.
Yeah.
And yeah, the robots are now gathered. There's a full robotic version of the band here, and they're ready to do a performance for Low Belly to make him cry pearl tears. You know, like who couldn't have seen this plan come together? It's so obvious. And yeah, they begin their performance, but they are absolute trash because they are robots and they don't have a musical bone in their bodies. There's not a computer that can teach the music to the band robots. That's just not how it goes. The music's in your soul, man. But yeah, the fans, by the way, are still watching this. I keep referring to them as the fans. I don't know why, but here they are. They're just hanging out and watching. And they're like, oh, it'll be all right. Gumby can take care of himself. He's a tough guy. But we see him get wheeled completely frozen into a locked room. So, like, I don't know. But yeah, it's so good. So yeah, they watch this terrible performance. And then they're like, all right, this is bad enough that we have to act. It seems like there's nothing we can do. And so they run in, but they trip over a wire of the speakers, revealing themselves. And the blockheads are like, what? And then they spring into action and try and capture them with nets, as they do. Just like
net technology is massive in this film as well.
Yeah, man. If you're trying to catch someone and you don't have a net, what are you doing? Like, these guys have nets on hand at all times.
Yeah, and they're advanced robotics lab.
Yeah, I think this is why, like, as a kid, I had a constant fear of robbers and being captured and stuff like this. Like, it's probably coming from this movie. I don't know.
And you're always trying to save farms.
It's true. I
can't take you to the country at all.
Like, man, that's a really cool dog you've got. Does it cry pearl tears? Like, get away from my dog, child. You weird boy.
Can't take you to the library because you're kind of trying to jump into a different book.
Bashing my head
just
against
by ramming
books.
your head against green eggs and ham.
I do want them. Sam I Am is not appreciating them, or whoever. And it's not Sam I Am. Who's the guy? Does he have a character name?
I don't think so. The audience surrogate of green eggs and ham.
Keeps talking to Sam I Am.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's all in his perspective.
Yeah. But anyway, he doesn't appreciate the green eggs and ham, and I bloody would. I actually had green eggs and ham once. My parents made green eggs and ham for me as a small child.
On purpose?
Yeah, on purpose. Like, it's with like food dye.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, because I was a little kid and I thought it was like the coolest thing in the world. And yeah, they did that. That's just a cool moment from my childhood.
Aww.
There you go. Anyway, back to Gumby. The girls...
Another cool moment from your childhood.
Yeah, the girls are trying to find the book, but they've gotten lost here in the toy shop. They presumably don't get around as much as Gumby does, but they go into the wrong farm book. They go into Old MacDonald's farm, which, as we know, it's a separate entity to Down on the Farm, completely unaffiliated series. And here it's just like all these farm animals just singing a truly terrifying rendition of Old MacDonald Had a Farm. There's a like circle of ducks that are just spinning around each other and singing the song, but they have like a very discordant set of voices. It's pretty spooky, actually. I don't like this version of Old MacDonald Had a Farm.
Yeah, I cranked the Pink Floyd back up for this.
Yeah, probably wise. But yeah, so the fans eventually pop out of this place and follow Robot Gumby, who is in his truck, ready to capture the rest of the friends and get them out of the way next. And so he comes back. Robot Gumby comes back to the friends That's Goo, Prickle, and Pokey, who are here, and basically convinces them that he's the real thing, and tries to trick them into the back of the van. This robot Gumby is also being remote controlled by the Blockheads from their base. They're looking on a screen and seeing through Robot Gumby's eyes and controlling him with a little joystick. And the fans arrive just in time over the crash sound and On the Run, and like slam into frame and yell at them that it's a robot. It's not the real Gumby. And they move to escape, and Goo subdues Gumby by turning into a plane and shooting him with like blobs of goo. Yep.
Yeah.
That's
so she. Yeah, again, we've been told this is a mermaid, and does the first thing she does.
You never seen a mermaid turn into a plane?
No, I mean, last time I tried to watch A Little Mermaid, I did get a call from my parents, and I ended up talking to them for the whole film and didn't get to watch the film. Oh, no. So I did miss that scene.
Yeah, it's pretty deep in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, like, if she's spitting out herself,
I think so.
Cover this Gumby.
Yeah.
Does she have to go and get it back, or is she just smaller?
Unknown. Maybe she can generate an infinite amount of herself.
Yeah. Is that the same for all of these Gumbyites?
I don't know. See, now you're thinking like me. Now you're thinking like James, who gets lost in the source of Gumby and Blue's Clues. This is the life I lead, where I get hung up on these kinds of crazy questions, all right? Welcome to my world.
It's some sort of It Follows kind of curse, and now you're free, and I have to pass on my Gumby question.
I never have to think of Gumby again. I'm free. And I just disappear off the call. No.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Robot Gumby is subdued. The transmission ends and is no longer being able to be controlled by the Blockheads.
Yeah.
Lucky comes back in his car at this point. He's saying that like a camera crew and everyone will be on their way in 2 hours. They're going to be here to record. He's very obsessed with this going ahead. And it's like, well, we're dealing with a situation in which Gumby has been replaced by a robot. So like, we've got to resolve that. And basically Lucky's along for the ride because he's just like, I need to get this production done. You know?
Yeah. Gotta protect my investment.
Basically, yeah. He just is. It's so funny that he's along for this whole adventure from this point as part of the like this strange crew of Prickle and Goo and Pokey, and then just a man. It's so funny. Anyway, yeah. So they go and search for Gumby in the books. The Ginger and Tara cannot remember what book they were at with the Blockheads a few minutes ago. And so they were like, I think it's like a computer robot book. Don't know. But they spread out and look for... like he's like, let's look at books that mention computers and robots. It's like, great, yeah. So I think we were all on the same page for that plan there, Lucky, but I'm glad that you put it into words. Yeah. This is solved pretty quick as Pokey spots a guitar case outside the robotics book, and Prickle comes in as the voice of reason and says, hey, maybe we shouldn't go in. It could be pretty dangerous. We should call the police. And Lucky's like, nah, it'll be fine if we stick together. Which is wild messaging for a kid's film to have. Like, so long as we're all together, it'll be fine. We don't need to call this police about this kidnapping situation that has happened.
Very, again, fascinating that the police exist in this world.
Yeah. I mean, the fire department does, right?
Oh, true, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, incredible.
And they're equipped to handle this?
Yep, apparently. Prickle, suggests it, but is immediately rebuffed. And it's such a bad lesson, but whatever. Yeah, they sneak in as we get into Time's vocals. And the Blockheads are distracted, desperately trying to get their Gumby robot back under control. And Pokey sneaks up on them and donkey kicks them in one of them in the back of the head. And Goo transforms into a rope and like ties them up. Again, just like leaving behind a trail of herself, wrapping them up. Such a wild power. But anyway.
Yeah.
They free Low Belly from his cage. And he immediately goes over to where Gumby and the crew are locked away in this like refrigerated room, which is locked with a key card. We cut away very briefly to see Robo Gumby come back to life and be able to see again, and is now in hot pursuit. And the Blockheads are desperately trying to sneak their way over and get back in control with the joystick. When Prickle just walks over, grabs the key card and like walks over and lets them out. And we go into this room and Lucky delivers another a classic Lucky line here.
Oh, yeah.
He says, "I tell you, it's cold in here. Colder than a witch's heart."
Aww. A witch hurt him once, didn't it?
Apparently. It's just such a great line. Oh my god. But yeah, the band are all here. They're like laid out in frozen stasis on top of like a table. Prickle turns the thermostat up to revive them, all the way up, very, very high to heat the room. And Goo is instructed to go and find some hot soup, and comes back into the room and says, "I found a robot that makes soup." Yeah. Just has a little cup of soup for Gumby, who comes back to life. That's such a weird thing to have in this.
Especially like the rule of this room is that you can't trust the robots on the side of the Blockheads. Like to then, but this one makes
the
soup.
Classic
Neutral
the soup robot. If you had a robot that made hot soup, why aren't we living in that reality? Where's my hot soup robot? That's just a great idea left on the table of the Gumby movie, guys. Where's my hot soup robot?
They shouldn't have buried it this deep in a movie, also hidden behind those bonkers alphabet soup ads. Like, this is what people should have been. Yeah, this would have helped the movie.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Gumby wakes
up. A world
up.
where soup is as easy as toast.
Yes, excellent. Oh man, I'd love a hot soup right now. It's been very.
Oh, is that it?
It's been very chilly. I'm just like all about soup, man. Like.
Yeah. I mean, I've had some pretty good soups lately.
Yeah?
Let me tell you.
Had a mushroom soup this last week. Gone. It was very good.
Oh.
Yeah. Living that soup life.
See, that's a real life, I guess, character development fans can enjoy over the show. Is that I don't think I liked soup when we started.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, I like soup. Yeah.
Oh my god, soup's the best.
Never hugely into it. Like, I'll do soup Sundays, but I'm going to eat the scones and enjoy them more than the soup. But now, I don't even need the scones.
Hold
or the
on.
sundae.
You have soup and scones, like, as a combo?
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. I don't think that's typical.
Like a hot scone?
Yeah, no,
Really?
no, I know scones. I know what. I've enjoyed scones in my life, Gareth. I just don't think as appearing that's a very common thing. Like you'll have like bread to dip in scones, sure. No, not bread, not scones. In soup, sorry. Bread to dip in soup is like croutons and things like that. That's a thing. But I don't know about scones and soup.
No, it was like every Sunday you'd have your soup out of your weird ceramic bowl with an interesting handle that made it impossible to lift. Especially because of how hot the soup was. Then you'd have these incredibly hot scones.
Wow.
And you weren't really supposed to dunk the scones in the soup. They were supposed to be their own side thing. But, I mean, you dunk them anyway.
You got it done.
It's soup and scone Sunday. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Oh my god. The soup and scone digression on this podcast is like exactly what people want. My god.
Yeah.
the best.
Oh, I'm worried how rare it is. I need to check in with my family.
Oh, yeah. Just confirm with them that you're not being gaslit into thinking that this is like a very common thing. I've had this happen in my family multiple times where they will there's a thing that I just think is a natural part of life that or like a saying or a euphemism or something that I will say, and everyone will look at me really weird, and it's just a thing specific to my family. As an example, to make you feel better, I guess, about the soup and scones thing. In my family, if you eat your dinner and have a fork or knife left unused because you never like needed it for the meal, that utensil is called a fairy. Every time. And so I was going out for years, Gareth, like into my 20s, saying like, "Oh, I've got a fairy," when I haven't used like a knife or fork, and everyone would, like, I would get no reaction out of people, and it wouldn't be until like probably about 25 that I found out that that's just a thing in my family.
Wow. Is it furious in like a winged creature or a boat?
No, fairy isn't like a winged creature, like a special pristine thing, I think is the idea.
Oh, and then what? Can you put it back in the drawer?
Yeah.
You've declared this is the fairy.
Yes.
The fairy can now return undishwashed.
Exactly, yes. That's absolutely right. So there you go.
I mean, yeah, never put a real fairy in the dishwasher either, so, okay.
No, there you go.
Okay, yeah, this is why I was always too scared to try out observational comedy. Like, relatable. Hey, you ever noticed how when you're in the men's room, like, I would just be so scared that it was just specific for me and that I just out myself as some sort of weirdo?
Yeah, man, that's why we use it on this podcast. This explicitly comedy show. Oh.
Yeah. You guys ever feeding your pet lizard and your pet lizard gives you a wink and you're a bit confused? Hey, well, the other day, and people are like, what the hell?
You had a pet lizard? I didn't know that.
No, I never had a pet lizard. I wish.
No.
I've been thinking a lot, like, I wanted to get a pet turtle. Is this anything?
I don't know.
I wanted to get a pet turtle when I was 13.
Wow.
And every so often I remember that, and I think I will still have that turtle now.
Yes.
And in a different world, maybe the same universe where Gumby was more popular than Mickey Mouse, I have that turtle.
Oh my god. So good. I have one final digression story, and it's about a turtle.
Okay.
My dad this story, by the way, paints me in a terrible light. I'm gonna be the worst, most ungrateful son by the end of the story. So here you go. My dad really wanted to get a turtle. My dad has pet fish, and it has like, and we also have cats and things as well. But he really wanted to get a turtle, and I said, very without thinking, in the moment, I think it was like Christmas Eve as well when I said this. I said without thinking, no, you can't get a turtle because it will outlive you, and then I'll have to look after it, which is true and brutal.
Yeah,
like it's a thing that I shouldn't have said.
That's the thing. But that's the sad thing, is everyone's going to reach the age where they're too old to get a turtle and not have to, like, find an heir to their turtle fortune.
Yeah.
Like,
I'll never live that down, by the way. That is, I still get called out about the turtle thing because I'm a mean and ungrateful son who won't let his dad get a turtle, who won't care for his turtle after he's gone.
He's looking at his fish tank full of fish and being like, too much water.
Exactly.
I need a turtle in there.
Yeah, so there you go. That's the final cutaway intermission story of Gumby.
Yeah. Get your dad a soup robot instead.
Yeah, I like that there were 4 ads for 4 different shows and then 4 separate stories there. That's a nice symmetry.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my god. So, Gumby wakes up in the lab and gets explained what's going on. He goes out and goes over to the computer and disables the robot band here, who are all freaking out and playing terrible music still. And the computer very helpfully explains exactly what's going on here. This whole convoluted plan is laid out very succinctly by the computer, saying that the dog's going to cry tears that turn into pearls. And Gumby's like, whoa. Okay. He also sees that through the viewport that there's a robotic version of himself here. That he's like, well, I definitely want to disable that. He just presses a button and turns it off. And yeah, imagine like discovering there's a robot version of yourself roaming around. How surreal that is as a concept. Amazing. Yeah.
Gumby's not afraid to raise these big issues. Yeah.
Completely unafraid. So yes, it's time to go back and record the music video, but unfortunately the thermostat has been cranked too high and the Clay Boys have melted on the table. They are just piles of wet plasticine. Disgusting. But Gumby's like, it's all right, I'll call the professor and he'll know what to do. So we go over to him, and he's got a new invention that will reinvigorate them. They put these like weird like speakers up to them, or like strange little suction cups on the guys' bodies, and zaps them with a machine. But it unfortunately shorts out, I guess, to fill time here. And yeah, so meanwhile, the Blockheads have been left completely alone and escape their bonds and get up and regain control of Robot Gumby, who immediately springs into action and kidnaps Goo, takes her away in the big fridge van. Yet another fridge van kidnapping. Who could have seen this coming?
Yeah, I can't believe this keeps working.
It happens so many times. It's so good. And Prickle sees this and he's like, shit. And he goes and calls Gumby on the phone. I just love the amount of phone conversations that take place between books in the Gumby world as well. It's very good. And Gumby's like, damn it, now I've got to go save Goo. So he tells Pokey to go and get Gumby's dad from the fire station, he's going to be important for the plot later. It's not really clear why he does this, but anyway. The Clay Boys get revived and seem to be doing okay, and they get sent back to get prepared for the concert, the recording of the music video. But then Gumby still has to rescue Goo before any of this goes down. He's got to go save his friend.
Yeah.
Goo is taken inside the robot book and to be locked away, maybe made a copy of, we don't know. And a chase ensues between Robot Gumby and Real Gumby, and like a Terminator 2 showdown.
Exactly that. Yeah.
It's awesome. So yeah, he's like chasing after Gumby with a net, as bad guys are wont to do. Tara picks up Gumby in her car and drives him to a book on the Knights of the Round Table. Actually, this is a cassette tape, I think, rather than a book. But
yes.
But anyway.
Yeah, very confusing.
Yeah, but anyway, he goes in this. And Gumby goes into the medieval world and goes to this blacksmith and is like, all right, make me a suit of armor and a sword. And the blacksmith, we're in the middle of money, and he is just talking about his issues. He's saying, well, I'm fresh out of swords because there's an impending war and all the knights have come and taken all the swords, so there's no swords, and I won't have swords for the next couple of days. I'm fresh out of swords. I'm so sorry, Gumby. It's just so much information, such a huge amount of detail from this blacksmith.
And again, the main preoccupation is the economic side of this war.
Yeah, right. Oh, it's just taking a toll on the bloody blacksmiths. He's like, I can do you a suit of armor though, and so he fits a suit of armor to Gumby. as the robot Gumby is exploring the medieval world, trying to find him. And so we see Knight Gumby now, as he's told, he's like, actually, there is one sword, and it's embedded in a stone. It's the sword in the stone. And Gumby goes to find that in his suit of armor, and is trying to pull the sword out of the stone, and is getting laughed at by like some princesses up in a tower.
Yeah.
Because he's too weak. He's clearly not the hero of legend that we thought, and is unable to pull the sword from the stone. And suddenly Robot Gumby scares him off and scares him into the tower, and he pulls the sword from the stone because he's got insane robot strength. Which is a strange part of the myth that I don't recall. That's just...
Yeah, Guy Ritchie didn't cover this.
Extra caveat in the Sword of the Stone legend is that if you are a strong robot, you can pull the sword from the stone as well. So there you go. There's a bit of a battle that takes place inside the castle where Gumby and Robot Gumby are fighting each other off. With Gumby's got like a pike that's getting slowly cut to smaller and smaller sizes, like that one scene in Robin Hood Men in Tights. Very good. And he meanwhile the Knights of the Round Table are just having a big old feast and like laughing at this whole situation, being very unhelpful for Knights of the Round. I couldn't believe it. Eventually tossing a sword up to Gumby so that he can defend himself. They are chased up the stairs and then swings down and lands on the table, turning to a pile of Gumby goo. And the Blockheads are like, hell yeah, we got him. We defeated Gumby. And enjoying a cup of hot soup each from the soup robot. So shout-outs to them. But of course Gumby's fine. He's got the powers of claymation and just springs back to life. To which the Blockheads look on in amazement. They like... what happens now? He escapes out of the book, grabs a crossbow on his way out and fires it into... Robot Gumby, who is completely unaffected by a crossbow bolt, like shrugs it off, pulls it out of his body. Crazy. It's great stuff. This chase is insane.
This is like every action movie should be jealous.
Right? It's so exciting, this whole thing. Back in Tara's car, driving along, firing crossbow bolts at this. We pull up to a new book called Battle of the Nebulae, which is a space adventure. We see Gumby flying through space towards a starship, which is Pink Floyd as heck, and he merges with a wall as Gumby can do. He like goes straight through the wall into the spaceship and arms himself in the armory with a fucking lightsaber. And so Robot Gumby appears and they do battle with a like Gumby slices the sword of legend in half with his lightsaber.
Oh man, it's have to say your classic storytelling.
Yeah.
It's the history of cinema right here, you know? The classic hero's journey has now been, updated. Star Wars, 1977.
Star Wars is here and it's real, all right? Robot Gumby quickly arms himself with a lightsaber as well. Also, Robot Gumby loses a hand, much like in Star Wars. He's got very Luke Skywalker energy. But they have a full-on lightsaber battle across a suspended beam. This is still a Gumby movie. Just great that this happens. This is like if you turn the podcast on at this exact moment, this is just a fever dream that is taking place, right? Like if I'm explaining what I'm seeing on screen, like what the fuck? Just
Yeah, well, you'd definitely be like, oh, okay, they're talking about like a Star Wars. Maybe it's one of the like lesser known.
No.
Maybe it's like a Clone Wars thing. What's Gumby doing in it?
it's two Gumbies fighting each other in Star Wars fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was the name of the Star Wars knockoff again?
Oh, it was
The Gift of the Nebula?
it was called hold on a moment. Battle of the Nebulae.
Oh, yeah.
You know, which is the episode 45, I believe, of the Star Wars saga.
Yeah, honestly. It undid all the good work set up in episode 44, if you ask me.
Yeah, I agree.
Don't know why they keep bringing J.J. Abrams back.
Yeah, it's because he keeps inserting Gumby in, and everyone bloody loves that guy.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
we've got, so Gumby gets disarmed, he loses his lightsaber, and then is cut into multiple pieces. And you're like, surely this is the end of Gumby. The Blockheads are again celebrating with fresh hot cups of soup, and these pieces of Gumby turn into 6 individual small Gumbies, and they run out and escape. I forgot to say earlier that actually in the medieval realm, Gumby was cut clean in half lengthways and reformed as well, but also is immune to lightsabers, can turn into 6 smaller versions of himself. And
I guess your only way to defeat Gumby would be to split him into many pieces and send the pieces into
like the sun.
different... Oh, yeah.
I think that's
that's
the only way. Incineration in the sun. Gumby himself is eternal.
Gumby just destroys the sun instead.
Oh no. It's a
Then what are you going to do?
you zoom out of the sun and it's just like a twinkle in Gumby's eye and you're like, oh no. But yeah. Tara asks she's like, oh, which one of you is the real Gumby? And they say, we all are. and then they merge together to reform Gumby. And that's fairly terrifying, I imagine. But
Oh, yeah.
But Tara's into it, so whatever. Meanwhile, the robot is still following, still on foot, chasing them down. One arm, lightsaber in hand, fresh out of the book. As Gumby's dad rocks up in his fire engine with Pokey, and they set a trap to stop him. Meanwhile, there's a brief cutaway to the robot Gumby who is chasing them down, crossing a train track. He kicks the train with his foot and then slices the spout off with his lightsaber. Wild.
I know.
Fantastic.
It's a mad lad.
What a nutter. love to see it. So he's just causing havoc here in this toy store. So Gumby's dad is here. They set a trap, and robot Gumby approaches Gumby, who's just standing there with a fire axe, ready to defend himself. And then he gets sprayed down by the hose, and then horrifically melts into the robot skeleton of Gumby. Very scary. And inside the book, the Blockheads are very upset, and they mobilize the Clayboy robots to go and subdue Gumby from within the book, from the opposite side. But they come through and immediately also fry by standing in the puddle of water from the hose.
Yeah.
So they all...
Which is nice. That's good thinking it through, that something would leave a puddle, you know?
Good logic there, yeah. But Blockheads obviously didn't think of that, and they're like, shit. It's all gone pear-shaped. So Gumby rushes in to save Goo, and does so. And then... This would have been extremely confusing for you. The Grooby comes in and constructs some cages. Now, the Grooby, Gareth, is...
The Grooby, yes.
Is a bee...
Released from his small cage.
Yes, released from his cage, because the Grooby is related to bees. He's like a little bee guy with a hammer for a hand, and he just builds stuff. That's what the Grooby do. I believe he was a previous antagonist in the series where he would just he acts extremely quickly and can build things, and Gumby would try and stop him from doing stuff, from getting out of control and breaking buildings and deconstructing and reconstructing things in powerful claymation fashion. The Grooby is an agent of chaos, but is also Gumby's pet. So
yeah, that was the weird angle.
there you go. Kept in this little cage and is now sort of Gumby's friend after their adventures together. But anyway, that's the Grooby.
See, I did look up the Grooby because that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And I went to the Gumby World website, and what was fascinating was what was the inspiration for the Grooby, and the creator was like, it was just the muse. You might as well ask my father why he wrote 200 songs. It was just the muse.
Just the muse, man.
Which I felt was beautiful, and I could not question the Grooby ever again.
That you can't after that. The Grooby just does what the Grooby do, you know?
Yeah.
Man. But yeah, it is nuts that the Grooby is such an important part of this, and it's like, never been part of the movie up until like the last 10 minutes, and then it's like, the Grooby, you guys remember, right? The Grooby? Yeah, here it is.
The Grooby's going to defeat these undefeatable villains, and
vital.
You're going to love it.
Vital to the Gumby lore is the Grooby.
Yeah.
Everyone loves the Grooby. Also, the Grooby is controlled by a whistle.
What?
Part of the lore. There's a whistle that you blow, and then the Grooby calms down and doesn't build its little cages that it does. Doesn't build stuff.
The Grooby sleeps in a rave because the whistles are just so calming.
Yeah, I think the Grooby's life is a rave, honestly. Just constantly on MDMA.
MDB.
Oh.
No.
Oh my god, I love the Grooby. I could talk about him for a long time.
Patreon subscribers will enjoy the Grooby
casts, where
6 11-hour-long episodes available
where
now.
Gareth and I do MDMA and try and do DIY together.
You know. And it's just it's unedited audio of us going, ow.
Yeah, slowly hammering our own hands. But yeah, so the day is saved. The blockheads are in their little cages and everything's good. Goo is also put into a cage but is quickly broken out because the Grooby is a little bit over enthusiastic about this whole situation. So that's just what the Grooby do. So they head on back to the recording to record the song at the studio or the barn or whatever. Lucky is here lamenting the ongoing cost of the productions. Waiting for Gumby is costing him huge amounts of money. Gumby finally arrives alongside Gumby's mum and sister, who just arrive with cookies for no apparent reason. They're here for a picnic that has been, like, everyone just knows about. There's just going to be a picnic.
Yeah.
Word's gotten round. But yeah, we also have the professor showing up for this finale again for no reason.
Yeah.
So Gumby, we see that, like, is talking to Pokey before the performance. He's like, I'm going to have a chat with the Blockheads. And we don't see it. We don't see the chat or whatever happens. I feel like this is the only thing that was potentially cut from the movie. Gumby's stern talking to the Blockheads. We eventually find out what happens to them as recompense for their crimes, but it's fine. We cut to the performance taking place, and it's No Buckle is sleeping again up in the rafters, so they've got to coax him down with a powerful guitar chord as we get into brain damage. And everyone gets into position, and they start recording and playing their song, and they are playing a perfect rendition of Brain Damage going into Eclipse. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And
it's shocking they had the rights.
Yeah, we get a very surreal music video playing out with Tara and Gumby transforming and exploring various strange imagery. I briefly want to talk about the song that plays over this because it's an original creation, a song about Gumby and falling in love with him. If you haven't heard the lyrics to the song, it is required viewing. Incredible that someone would write a love song for Gumby, but it is in this film and wonderful. But yeah, visually, we're getting some very strange imagery. Gumby and Pokey transform into a carousel. Gumby dances with Tara and then is spinning around in this enormous dark room filled with giant Pokies. Which is something straight out of a Pink Floyd video. Like all the Pokies standing next to each other remind me a lot of the walking hammers from the War video. But yeah, it's very strange. They transform into balls. They do a bit of dervish dancing with the swords from earlier. It's great. They ascend on giant skyscrapers made out of blockhead faces. They ride. There's like statues of Gumby faces and Tara faces. They ride a rhino past,
of course,
plinths carrying golden instruments towards a wall of blockheads, and they break through that. It's all metaphor, you know. This is all a beautiful artistic music video for Gumby and the celebration of Gumby and what he's all about. And
which is a shame that it's happening over eclipse and then kind of nothing.
Basically silence, yes. It makes it very strange and unsettling, honestly. Yes. But there's a little bit left. They've turned into they fly a plane around, again avoiding blockheads, and then descend down back to the barn, and we see the performance. And then we zoom out of Gumby's eye. I don't know how this is done through camera trickery, but very strange effect. While we get a cutaway to Low Belly, who has cried just an avalanche of pearls over this performance. Don't know why this music affects Low Belly so much in such a way.
Yeah, well, it's the dancing.
I guess
he
so.
thinks every time Gumby busts out that magic that Gumby's not coming back.
Oh no.
So he cries his pearls.
Fair enough. Oh my god.
Yeah.
You know, like it's strange because Gumby muses even when like he finds out about the whole scheme of the blockheads, right? He says, he's like, but our music isn't sad. He says, it's like that's one thing that doesn't add up to Gumby and is never explained. So you're left wanting in that regard with the Gumby movie.
There's got to be one ballad on the Clayboys album.
I hope so.
Surely.
I think it's this. I think it's this weird love song. So they gather everyone around for the picnic after the recording. They gather the local farmers, and Gumby gives a speech. He says that Lucky has started a farm loan company, so now he's combination TV producer and loan shark. He's started this company to give the loans to the farmers and send the kids to college.
Yes! An actual concern of Gumby.
Yeah, amazing. It's so wild that everyone applauds. They put up a sign showing the repayment interest rate of the loans on offer is 3.5%, and everyone cheers at that reasonable return rate.
Yeah.
Like, it's so funny that they're cheering a statistic at the end of this movie.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That Gumby was unhappy with the bank system in this world and just built his own bank.
Through magical dog tears.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Incredible. He's like laundering money through his pearl dog. I don't... Oh my god.
Yeah, the sequel to this farm book that goes deep into how the Pearl Dog economy
Yeah, right.
ruined the farms. It's going to be fascinating.
Ruined the economy of the toy store and cursed everyone. Anyway, the work here is done. Pokey and Gumby are ready to go. We see the Blockheads are being punished by just doing the farm work that Gumby was getting his friends to do earlier. So that's as bad as it gets for the Blockheads. Just a fair bit of community service that'll do you.
And an unseen talking to.
Yeah.
We can't
No,
forget
we
that.
don't know what happened with Gumby. Gumby has freakishly strong powers, so we don't know what he did, but it was messed up enough to get these Blockheads to underline, you know? Yeah. So Pokey and Gumby turn back into their clay brick forms and fly back into space like they did in the start of the movie. And as we get into the third playthrough of Breathe, they fuse back together into the 2001 space monolith. And we see our friend the alien who's been watching the movie along with us on his widescreen TV. And an arm reaches out of his television, presumably Gumby's arm, and turns the television off. And that's the movie. We get the credits with some trippy stuff from the actual Gumby show. These are all clips from the TV show, the original show. And we get another original Gumby song over this, which is so good. It's about Gumby going this way and that and all the stuff, the zany stuff he can do. And that's it. What did you think? How did it sing, Gareth?
Oh, man.
Bloody Gumby.
Well, honestly, it's you, me, that alien, and that guy on Reddit watching this. And, we know one of their opinions.
Yep.
We'll never know the alien's opinion.
No.
And
Unseen.
I'm dead in the middle, and I have no idea how I think definitely this isn't a high number.
No. Not a huge amount of sense, I will say. Definitely fit in the vibe. You know, like...
Yes.
It's a strong vibe sync. but if we're going by the book, but by the numbers, looking at the statistics, like... We're not high on the graph. We've got to agree.
Yeah.
I
reckon... Oh, what do you reckon?
I think we're lower than last week as well. I think we're probably about a 3 here.
Oh. Yeah, I think maybe we're, No Buckle did it himself. He wrote it on the board.
Oh, yeah.
It's a 3.5.
There it is.
Yeah, this movie synced itself.
I'm ready to applaud and cheer that number as it goes up onto the graph, Gareth. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I don't know how Reddit works, like if you're able to comment on this old post, but I would love it if you commented, bro, tried it. Didn't work.
Sorry, 3.5. Yeah. There we go.
No link, no explanation.
No. Just from my personal Reddit account.
Yeah.
Gumby fan 69. All right. What are we doing next week, Gareth? What's the follow-up to the Gumbyverse?
Well, we're accidentally built a trilogy here.
Wow.
We've done, last week we did Clay with the claymation stylings of Jason and the Argonauts.
And then
this week we've done Clay Boys.
double down.
With Gumby. So it's, of course, we've got to fit the other side of this equation in our full study. And we've got to do one for the boys.
For the boys?
Just an episode for the boys. And not just any boys. I want this to be about all the boys.
Okay.
All the boys that I've loved before. We're watching Netflix's rom-com, To All the Boys I Loved Before, 2018.
All right. It's a movie.
I know very little about it.
I've never heard of it, but I'm very excited. So that sounds great. All the boys I've loved before. I can't wait to meet them all.
Yeah. Listen to it on a Saturday, listeners, for the boys.
It's for the boys.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Get at us.
Yeah.
Pink Floyd Pod on Twitter, on YouTube, on that one Reddit post. Get at us. Give us an upvote.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I've been made of little bit of green clay, Gareth Blacklow.
I've been the robot skeleton replacement of James Barron.
And yeah, until next time, we'll see you on the dark side of the moon.
On the dark side of the moon. Yeah, yeah. Oh, Gumby.